Finally, we have names. Here is a post made by NHL Rumor Report that dives into what David Pagnotta said a few days ago on whom it is the Vancouver Canucks are intent on trading. Forwards Conor Garland, Teddy Blueger, Drew O'Connor, Lukas Reichel, and Evander Kane, as well as defenseman Derek Forbort, are other players the Canucks are listening to offers on. And I love how some of the replies are just like, yeah, okay, aside from Garland, the return for those players will be a 5-man unit of future considerations. So they're really just interested in trading away their bums. Honestly, aside Conor Garland, I think it's fair to say that all of these guys are really meh at best this season. And I say this season because I definitely don't want to discredit what Teddy Blueger is capable of doing in an NHL lineup, but the only problem is he's only played 2 games all year. So, in terms of value he has provided to the Vancouver Canucks this season, it's essentially nothing, outside of the 1 goal he has scored. But this, of course, is a pretty interesting update because it gives us more options as fans to try to analyze just what players could be on the move and what teams could actually be vying for their services. We have seen conversations relating to the Philadelphia Flyers and how Rick Tocchet likes some Vancouver guys. Obviously, out of these names, he did have Garland, Blueger, O'Connor, and Derek Forbort in the past. Reichel and Evander Kane are new additions to the team this season, and now they're on the trade block once again. And if we go player by player, just kind of dive into each of their profiles, it makes sense why all of these guys would be available. Conor Garland, if he gets traded, it's probably going to be for a young center in some capacity. Vancouver is really intent on making this trade philosophy known. They want to get younger. They don't want to get too young, though. They want to get guys that are NHL ready now. And whether or not you think that's actually an appropriate way to go out there and run your hockey team, cough, cough, sell the team, Francesco, please do us all a favor. Conor Garland is one of the main pieces that you can say could get that done for Vancouver. It's Garland or Hughes, really. And the fact that Quinn Hughes seems to have maybe stalled a little bit in trade talks does open the door for more players like Conor Garland to be more shopped, I guess you could say. Garland this year has 15 points in 21 games played. He is on pace for a career high of 55 points in 76 games, which would have been slightly better than his current career high of 52 points back in 21-22. Now, Garland has been one of the better players for Vancouver this season. His shot is a total muffin, but he does everything else you need anybody to do. He forechecks hard, he plays with an edge, he can make some good plays himself, and he's very spinny in the offensive zone. There's a lot of versatility in the way Conor Garland is able to run about his business. So the fact that he is on the market and a lot of teams apparently have much interest in him, definitely not surprising there. It's Garland or Sherwood that probably have the most trade discussion going on about them right now, and then Quinn Hughes is in the background because he is one of the best players in the NHL, of course. Moving over to Teddy Blueger, this is a guy whom I think the Vancouver Canucks want to get rid of because they, as we had said, have not received any value out of him so far this year. Now, that's not his fault. He only had 26 points in 82 games last year, and he was relatively good, but this season he's gotten only 2 games played, so Blueger has just not been an option for the Vancouver Canucks. He started out super hot, though, 28 points in 68 games 2 seasons ago, playing with Garland and Dakota Joshua. That line was one of the best third lines in hockey, if not one of the best lines in hockey, period, in the 23-24 campaign. But Teddy Blueger is now 31 years old, and on the last year of a $1.8 million AAV contract. This is a guy that has been very useful when he's in the lineup, but he's just not been in the lineup. So if Vancouver wants to sell high on the upside of Blueger, that does seem to be what they're thinking about here. Because it's not like he's been providing much value for the team right now anyway. So trade him away, get a player who is technically worse, and use that new player to insert into the lineup and actually get value now. That seems to be Vancouver's mindset about this all. Plus the fact that he is a player on a contract that's expiring. It makes it a lot easier to trade him too. Drew O'Connor, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Connor experiment has worked out here for Vancouver. He has not been all too useful outside of a very good stint throughout the middle of November there. But other than that, I mean, look at this. Drew O'Connor had a point in the very first game of the NHL season, and then he went however many games this is without a point. He then had himself some multi-point games in the October-November-ish area, and then kind of just got back to the mean of scoring every other game or so. But Drew O'Connor this year, with a grand total of 12 points in 27 games, he's on pace for 36, which would be a career high. I mean, he recently had 33 points in 79 Penguins games 2 seasons ago. But other than that, Drew O'Connor has been a lot more of just a speedy guy with nothing really else to offer. His offensive skill is not good enough to match the feet that he plays with. He speeds around the O-zone. He's got wheels, but he just doesn't have the skill to be able to put it together outside of that. Again, as we had mentioned, outside of a very limited stint where he was actually scoring a whole bunch of points. That St. Louis game in particular was a really good one, and then he had the 2 goals against Minnesota. So Vancouver giving up on O'Connor, it's another Penguins situation experiment for Allvin and Rutherford that did not work out. Talking about experiments that didn't work out, hey, Lukas Reichel is also here. Former first-round pick by the Chicago Blackhawks back in 2020. He's a guy that I thought had a lot more upside heading over to Vancouver, especially considering the fact that he had 4 points in 5 games to open up the year with Chicago. He's got 1 point in 14 Vancouver games in his stint with the Canucks so far. He has not been effective, man. Sure, he finds open space. Sure, he gets himself in the right areas. Sure, he has scoring chances, but Lukas Reichel just is not good enough to finish them, to bury them, and to get his name on the score sheet. He has been ineffective, and quite frankly, I'd say a lot of Canucks fans are very disappointed with this acquisition, myself included. I thought he'd be a lot better. But the Vancouver Canucks trying to move on from their mistakes, eh? This is exactly what we saw happening last year with Vinny Desharnais, Danton Heinen, Daniel Sprong, and now you just re-signed Conor Garland, you just traded for Lukas Reichel, you just traded for Evander Kane. These guys are all in the market too. Talk about being impatient and not letting your guys ride out or just making bad decisions in the first place. Talking about Evander Kane, I mean, he is one of the top point scorers of the Vancouver Canucks this season by some miracle. He's got 14 points in 27 games played this year, 5 goals and 9 assists. He is on pace for just over half a point a game. And admittedly, the numbers are a lot better than Evander Kane actually is on the ice. Sure, he can provide minutes, he can be physical, but he chooses not to be physical when he probably should be. And he makes a lot of plays that are just dumb and not really all too facilitating of the play for Vancouver. I mean, the play dies on his stick a lot. He passes it back into his own zone, he whiffs a shot, it goes wide, it ricochets into his own zone. All the stuff that happens with the puck just ending up in his own zone, and the fact that he just can't really string together a consistent offensive package like he did once upon a time in prior years. Evander Kane is a shell of his former self, and for a guy who is 34 years old, 1 year left at $5.125 million, this was never going to be a long-term option for Vancouver anyway. Meanwhile, Derek Forbort, I mean, you spoke about the Teddy Blueger conversation. Forbort's only played 2 games. He was out week to week. They said he'd be back soon. It's been so long. This guy last played for Vancouver in October. It's been almost 2 months. Week to week, more like month to month, man. Of course, the Canucks are interested in trading Forbort away. His contract's expiring. But as we had mentioned with all these other dudes, value in, value out. They're not getting any value out of Forbort right now on the roster, so trying to trade him away for somebody that actually can play, even though they might be worse, that does seem to be the play here for the Vancouver Canucks. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about all these names here. Garland, Blueger, O'Connor, Reichel, Kane, and Derek Forbort. These are the other guys that Vancouver is interested in trading. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.